Ra Diggs, also known as Ronald Heron, was born in Brooklyn on March 30, 1982. He was raised in the public housing complex known as the Gowanus Houses in Barham Hill. Heron experienced the pains of poverty and violence in his early years. His views regarding authority and his community were significantly impacted when, at the age of 12, he saw a local police officer shoot one of his childhood friends. Heron was exposed to the street life at a young age since his mother's apartment was a gathering spot for drug users to bag and sell drugs. His long connection with the criminal justice system began when he was taken to a juvenile center at the age of 13 for robbery. While incarcerated in Rikers Island's adolescent wing, which he subsequently referred to as a gladiator school because of its violent environment, Heron joined the Blood Street Gang at the age of 14 and quickly advanced through its ranks. He was imprisoned multiple times for his crimes, which included drug sales and armed robbery. He was convicted of first-degree murder and drug trafficking in 2002, but the murder charge was dropped. Instead, he entered a guilty plea to drug trafficking and was sentenced to 6 years in Southport Prison. After being released from jail in July 2007, Heron attempted to reinvent himself as a musician and went by the stage name Ra Diggs. He worked with musicians such as Waka Flocka Flame and Uncle Murder, creating the Murder Team. Among Brooklyn's hip-hop, their songs, such as We Run NY and a Slow Down remix, were popular. In March 2010, Heron set up his YouTube account, Vangodent, to promote his music and street identity. His records such as the classic Eulogy showcased his unfiltered, unadulterated rap approach, frequently describing his criminal past and living in the Gowanus houses. Project Music and Kill Yourself were among the others that were featured in his Ra Diggs TV, Project Music series, which featured him rapping, driving through the projects, and talking with the people. However, authorities insisted that the videos were literal recountings of his crimes rather than works of art, hence they were later used against him in court. Ra Diggs stood out in music and on the streets due to his extravagant and flashy appearance. He frequently donned flashy, showy attire, even bright red to symbolize his Bloods affiliation, along with oversized gold necklaces and pendants set with diamonds. With fitting headwear, high-end footwear, and specially designed apparel that radiated charisma and strength, his appearance leaned on the flashy. The most noticeable aspect of Heron's public character was his occasional adoption of a drag persona, which was unconventional and combative for an artist with a gang affiliation. According to reports, he occasionally assumed a dramatic alter persona and appeared while wearing women's attire, including dresses, wigs, and makeup. This drag alter ego was more of a performance art and shock value kind, where his exaggerated personality was more significant than gender expression. Although examples of specific incidents or exact attire are poorly documented due to the restricted scope of his public career, the sources claim that he employed these appearances to challenge expectations and draw attention. Tensions increased and Ra Diggs' violent reputation was cemented in 2010 as he got into a fight with rapper Jim Jones. The two artists were present in a recording studio in Manhattan when the altercation started. Although the details are unknown, it is said that a furious disagreement broke out, either over a personal slight or business issue. Apparently offended by whatever Jones had said or done, Heron, who had a tendency to be confrontational, got into a heated argument with Jones. The situation escalated when Heron and his crew followed Jim Jones to a nightclub one night. According to legal documents and eyewitness accounts from the streets, Heron assembled a group of people he referred to as a hit squad with the intention of physically assaulting Jones. The gang, armed and ready to fight, made their way to the club, but presumably security measures or Jones's own departure stopped the altercation before it escalated into physical fighting. Although no one was hurt and no one was arrested, the incident was later used as proof in Heron's federal indictment that he intended to use violence to resolve conflicts. Heron was the head of the murderous Mad Dogs, a Bloods-affiliated gang who dominated the drug trade in Gowanus and Wyckoff houses. He was the mastermind behind the gang's extortion, assassinations, armed robberies, crack and heroin sales, and other crimes. Additionally, he had been connected to the murders of 3 drug trafficking men, Victor Zapata, Richard Russo, and Frederick Brooks. On October 5, 2010, Heron was arrested for narcotics charges in front of a nightclub. He was arrested when a loaded gun and body armor were found in his car during a search. He was charged by the federal government on 21 charges, including 3 murders, drugs distribution, racketeering, and violations of the RICO Act. Prosecutors also relied on his YouTube videos and lyrics, especially from Eulogy, which glorified defeating a homicide charge and battling his adversaries. In front of Judge Nicholas Garofis, Heron's trial got underway in Brooklyn's Federal District Court in May 2014. The defense argued his rap lyrics were protected by the First Amendment, and they called in Lehigh University professor James Peterson to testify that the lyrics were exaggeration and hyperbole typical of hip-hop. In his testimony, Uncle Murder also said Heron's accusations about drugs and guns were false. After a day of deliberation, the jury found Heron guilty on all 21 counts on June 26, 2014, in spite of these arguments. Heron remained defiant throughout his sentence on April 2, 2015. He received 12 life sentences without the possibility of release for the drug sales, killings, and racketeering. He was also moved to ADX Florence, a supermax prison in Colorado known for its severe isolation policies, where convicts are kept in solitary confinement for 23 hours at a time. His contempt was demonstrated in January 2015 when razor blades and a cell phone were found during a search of his MCC New York cell. In December 2022, he was temporarily sent to USP Florence High, but by March 2025, he was back at ADX Florence. On the grounds that his rap lyrics infringed upon his First Amendment rights, Heron filed an appeal of his conviction with the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit on April 8, 2015. On February 14, 2019, the court rejected his appeal, finding his objection without merit. Ronald Heron is still incarcerated at ADX Florence. With videos like Eulogy and others that provide a virtual timeline of his musical career, his YouTube channel, Vangodent, continues to garner views. His battle with Jim Jones and drag persona, which combine provocation, criminality, and artistic expression, deepen his complex legacy.